I'm Susie Lockwood, and I'm honored to be service with you this morning. Today, we warmly welcome back as our guest speaker, the Reverend Cynthia Snavely. She's behind me, Cynthia. Reverend Snavely describes herself as a humanist who draws from Christianity, Buddhism, and neo-paganism. Cynthia is currently serving as the interim minister at Tri-County Unitarian Universalist in Summerfield. She began her ministry in the United Methodist Church and moved in a Unitarian Universalist ministry in the early 1990s. She has served Unitarian Universalist congregations in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina, as well as Florida. Her daughter and grandson moved to Florida this June. So we welcome them here. Announcements. We'll begin this morning with our regular announcements that I give. Zoom friends, please remember to remain muted, and also a reminder of everyone to have your phones off. Also, as a reminder, if you wish to sing along using our hymnals, you can find a copy of the gray and teal hymnal under some of the seats. All the very final one, which is one of our favorites, I'm going to tell you now, are found in the gray hymn book. Make sure you check out all the group activities going on here at UUCLC in the weekly bulletin. If you're interested in receiving a bulletin or to receive our monthly newsletter, The Communicator, or to learn more about us, please email us at, oh, did I change it? Is it office? No, I have the wrong one. office@uuclc.org. Is that right? I'm sorry, I had to use an old one, so that's it. Now for the announcements that have been passed to me to pass to you. Next Sunday on October 30th, we will be having a special collection to help support the Snavely Project, who help underprivileged transgender youth by providing funding for specialized therapeutic, mental, and health services. Our welcoming congregation committee feels that helping to support this local charity can make a big difference in youth who are most at risk and vulnerable to the underlying struggles of LGBTQ+. Welcoming congregation in the memo line. Oops, I'm reading somebody else's. Please be generous next week by donating. Oh, put that in on your check. It's just welcoming congregation. Make a note of that on your check. Please be generous next week by donating in the special black box in the narthex marked welcoming congregation. Thank you. Okay. We have a couple from our president. The next Board of Trustees meeting will be this Wednesday, October 26th at 1 p.m. on Zoom. The link is in the weekly bulletin. The meeting is open to all members. Is it members? Just members. Okay. This is another one. Congratulations. The UUA has recognized us once again as an honor congregation for giving the full amount requested by UUA for the annual program fund this past fiscal year. We often pay for this contribution as our dues. We typically do give our full share, but not every congregation does. So thank you to all who contribute financially to our congregation last year and making it possible for us to honor our covenant with the UUA in this way. So give ourselves a there you go. Okay, we have another one. This is one of the volunteer opportunities that we are trying to share with the congregation weekly, and this is from the Care and Connect Committee. They have a new opportunity, a new job opening, and it is a person to coordinate the scheduling of meals or grocery store runs for members and friends who are coming home from the hospital, suffered a loss, or are homebound. It would include managing a sign-up sheet of those willing to participate. If interested, see Janine Reagan. Janine, raise your hand. And as part of the Care and Connect Committee for many years here, that is a welcome addition to our Care and Connect. And I am happy that they're reaching out to find volunteers for this very worthy cause, is helping our congregation when they're in need. Okay, covenant circles. Our small groups who meet once or twice a month to have a deep discussions on topics that the group decides on. It is a wonderful way to get to know others really well and establish relationships. If it sounds interesting to you, you can sign up in the narthex, and when we have 8 to 10 people, we will start a new group. Who here has done covenant group? It's been me too. Yes. Oh, Thanksgiving. As far as we are aware, our Thanksgiving celebration here at the church is still on. And I know we did this years ago before COVID reared its ugly head. And it was beautiful. It was just beautiful. Of course, I didn't come. I had my kids come to me. But it was a beautiful setting. I saw the pictures. I know how many people were involved, big red tablecloths. It was just beautiful. And there is a sign-up sheet. I guess it has what you'd like to bring, and it's in the narthex. And it takes a lot to put together. So if you're interested, I'm sharing the Thanksgiving meal with your friends and families here. Sign up. I think that's it. Does anyone else have any announcements? Oh, okay. We'll go over here to Jane first. Oh, I'm sorry. Microphone is going to magically appear.
Thank you. I hope some of you noticed the Thanksgiving baskets in the lobby. We're going to be collecting them the next 2 weeks. You can pick up a list out there. What it involves is you going to the store and spending about 15 minutes buying some stuff, plus getting a gift card from a grocery store, and you just bring the stuff in, and then the Social Justice Committee will, I call it, pretty it up. We'll put the bow and the cellophane and all that. We'll include a happy Thanksgiving card also. So the next 2 Sundays when you need to bring them in. And then we're going to be delivering them to the Helping Hands Ministry in South Lake. And they help a lot of very low-income families down there.
So glad we're doing something like that.
It's fun. It really
I know. One year we did collect for turkeys, and wow, we bought a lot of turkeys for them.
Really, that's great.
Yeah, this is a wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a second announcement also. All about the ballots contacted me this past week. Their focus is getting African Americans out to vote. And so they need help in 3 ways. They're sending out postcards. They've asked for donations to help with the purchase of stamps. I volunteered to help them do door hangers tomorrow. And if anyone else would be interested, tomorrow, maybe also another day later in the week. It's great to have a driver and 2 runners. And all you're doing is hanging a flyer doorknobs. And we're going to focus on Eustis, the African Americans living in Eustis. And the third way to help is I volunteered to staff a table during early voting at the Eustis station, where we set up a little table, had to be at least 150 feet away from the front door, not allowed to interfere with anyone. But we'll have a sign on there about election protection. So if anyone feels uncomfortable in any way, turned away, or they just have a question, we'll do our best to help them. Now, all these activities are nonpartisan. All that's about nonpartisan. We're not there to tell people who to vote for, but we're there to be supportive. If you're interested in helping with any of those activities, just let me know after service today, and I'll get you some information. And thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Over here, we have an announcement. Oh,
In the middle.
oh, there she is. Okay, I can see your little hand. It's coming.
Hello, I'm Susan, and I wanted to share with you that UCLC will be participating in the Salute to Veterans on Saturday, November 12th. And it's right here in Eustis. It's hosted by the city of Eustis. They're always hosting events there and putting up banners. And we are going to be participating by having a table. So between 10 and 4, UCLC will have information out and let veterans know that veterans can be UUs if they're interested.
Oh.
So I'm looking actually for veterans that might want to come join me at the table. So I did put posters out with my email address, where you can also approach me after services. And I think Henry would take the email to forget my email address. Don't pick up a flyer. Everybody knows Henry's email address. He'll be coming out, joining me for part of it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this is exciting.
My turn. I have 3 things. I want to tell everybody that this social justice group here you have in this church is an amazing group of people. They do a wonderful job. They reach out. They do things that other people won't do or can't do. And I'm just amazed at some of the things they come up with as far as supporting this particular group of people. And with that, I wanted to thank them for arranging this Love Extension program we had today in our study group. And it's helping the disabled and the elderly. I mean, I'm not talking about just helping them up the steps. I'm talking about feeding them and supplying materials, equipment they need, and reaching out into their homes and doing things. So, and your social justice group arranged that discussion. Now, next week, sorry I'm taking up so much time, but I got a lot on my program. Danielle Oliveira will be giving us a program of what it means to be a real ally to LGBTQ groups. So be here at 9:30. You guys can set your clock an hour earlier. You can get here and enjoy that group, because there's a lot of people that are interested in the well-being and the chances of study.
Thank you, Glenn. Wow. Anyone else? Thank you, everybody. To worship is to stand in awe under a heaven of stars, before a flower, a leaf in sunlight, or a grain of sand. To worship is to be silent, receptive before a tree, stir within the wind or the passing shadow of a cloud. To worship is to work with dedication and with skill, It is to pause from work and listen to that strain of music. To worship is to sing with the singing beauty of the earth. It is to listen through a storm to the still, small voice within. Worship is a loneliness, seeking communion. It is this thirsty land crying out for rain. Worship is kindred fire within our hearts. It moves through deeds of kindness and through acts of love. Worship is the mystery within us, reaching out to the mystery beyond. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Lake County. We gather a community of seekers to honor the independence of life, to respect the dignity of all, to honor the land we are humbly upon as we acknowledge that we walk upon the traditional territories of the Timucua people, the original nation of this land. We are blessed with space and opportunity to strive to live our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to live out our dreams of a world community of peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. All are welcome here. Greeting guests. Welcome to any first-time visitors or anyone returning from an absence. And if you are comfortable in doing so, raise your hand and this handsome man back there will magically bring the microphone. I know we have, I'm just going to say, a familiar face. That's all I'm going to say. And welcome with all my heart. Do we have anyone here? Okay. If you are with us for the first time though, and do not want to, are comfortable in introducing yourself, we do have a stand that you can write your name and such information out in the narthex. The lighting of the chalice is a moment shared by Unitarian Universalists around the globe. Jane will now come forward to light our chalice. Taken from a book, The Sacred Depths of Nature, an unbelievable little book by Dr. Ursula Goodenough, A Pawning Prayer. Remember the circle of the sky, the stars and the brown eagle, the supernatural winds breathing night and day from the four directions. Remember the sacredness of things running streams and dwellings, the young within the nest, a hearth or sacred fire, the holy flame of fire. Oh, it's 362, Rise Up, O Flame. I usually don't, I'm sorry. We stay seated. Rise Up, O Flame. In the gray hymnal. don't know what happened. Now we make time for sharing our joys, concerns, or just setting intention for the coming days. First, those in the sanctuary may now come forward and place stones or stones in the sand to silently represent what is in your heart as we listen to the gentle music played by our own peace convict. Now, if there is anyone who has a joy or concern that they wish to share with the congregation, please raise your hand.
Thank you, Bernie. For those on Zoom who can't see me, this is Doug Walker. Wasn't sure whether to put this under announcements or concern. It's concern to me. We've just been notified where I live, the park where I live. We've all been evicted, and they're closing the park as of April 10th. We have to be out, everybody. So I'll be looking for a place to live. I mean, I've been here 3 years. I was hoping to live there the rest of my life, but that's not going to happen. So I have very limited means, so I'm looking for a very cheap mobile home or some kind of affordable rent. If anyone wants any more particulars, they can just get in touch with me, and I'll be glad. I basically am saying this because more eyes and ears better. If you see anything that's, like I say, it doesn't have to be fancy. If you know where I was living, Palm Gardens, you know, fancy is not important. Okay, thank you.
I might have.
Perhaps some of you know this, but Kristen and Kaylee are not here today because they have COVID again.
Oh. And both of them are buried. Yes. Let us all think of them because they have medical circumstances. If you have someone not mentioned to which you hold concern, you may speak their name out loud. Those on Zoom, you may unmute to speak. You may begin.
Deb,
Nathan. For those things named and for all those that are too tender to have had words here this morning, we hold them in the light of our compassion and the warmth of our community. Amid all the noise in our lives, we take this moment to sit in silence, to give thanks for another day, to give thanks for all those in our lives who have brought us warmth and love. We give thanks for the gift of life as we become mindful of all that we have heard and will hear this day. Let us now reaffirm who we are as together we recite our congregational covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and through service we live our principles. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This Unitarian Universalist congregation works at creating a beloved community among ourselves and the world. We share a dream of being a church for all peoples and beings, as well as a church of the earth. Please join us in supporting this dream as we ask for whatever financial support we can provide. You may donate by using the lockbox outside in the narthex, or you may use any of these ways that are shown here. Our first hymn is hymn number 163 in the gray hymnal, For the Earth Forever Turning. Terry will first play it through. Then we will all sing all 4 verses as we stand.
When I was a child, my parents had a picture of our house and yard hanging in the basement family room. It had been taken from the sky. Looking from up above, you could see the house, the garden, the swing set, the doghouse, everything that was home. Now, why did my parents purchase that picture? Money was tight. They wouldn't have purchased just any picture taken from the sky, but a picture of their house, their home that they bought. Have you ever gone to the website Google Earth? If you have, I can guess that the location you Googled was your home, or maybe your former home addresses. An article in Travel and Leisure says that it's Christmas Eve, 1968, and the first humans are orbiting the moon. NASA's Apollo 8 astronauts, Frank Borman, James Lovell, and Bill Anders, see the far side of the moon. Anders took the first pictures taken of the Earth from the moon, including the famous Earthrise that arguably kick-started the environmental movement. Apollo 8 will probably be remembered as much for Bill's picture as anything, because it shows the fragility of our Earth, the beauty of the Earth, and just how so insignificantly small we are in the universe, Borman said. It was the beginning of the realization that we need to take care of it. Pictures of home, whether it is a house or a planet, stir up feelings in us. This is ours, and we need to take care of it. We have a responsibility to this place. Today, some environmental activists are using that power of pictures, often moving pictures, and I mean moving pictures in both senses of that phrase. In October of last year, 2021, Vogue began an article, "Drag queens are known to bring irreverent and fabulous outfits to the stage. But have you ever seen a performer bring that energy to the hiking trail?" That's what drag queen Patagonia is doing on TikTok. The 29-year-old environmentalist, drag queen, and professional homosexual, unquote, uses their theatrical ensembles and clever videos to promote environmental activism. They've even rock climbed in heels. Don't ask me to do that. I have trouble standing in one spot in heels. Patagonia posted their first TikTok in December of 2020. And each TikTok they've posted since has been a bold statement about respecting the planet we live on. Their videos have garnered over 1 million likes and 127,000 followers. Among other moments, they've turned eliminating waste into a fashion moment. If you can hold on to your trash boyfriend for 2 whole years, then you can hold on to this piece of trash for 5 more minutes. Patagonia will say while picking up discarded trash on the ground, while wearing an elaborate gown made of what else? Recycled trash. They've also recreated a scene from The Sound of Music to make a point about global warming. The hills are alive with the sound of climate change, they quip. My love of drag and the outdoors has always been one and the same, says Patagonia on their design inspiration. Patty was born 3 years ago on a backpacking trip in Colorado. I had only done drag once before, but decided to do drag in the outdoors, and it changed my life in just about every way possible. I learned about myself as a queer person. I learned there was a massive queer community in the outdoors I didn't know existed, and learned there's so much work to do to make the outdoors a space that everyone has equal access to and feels safe in. When asked what made you want to start creating on TikTok, Gonia answered, I want to share my environmental advocacy with my art form of drag and also make the outdoors as gay as possible. My drag style has evolved over the years from just wearing heels to sporting full drag looks based on animals like birds, the drag queens of the sky, or creating looks out of upcycled materials from plastic bags to tents. My love of drag and the outdoors has always been one and the same. What a lot of people don't know about drag is that its roots are in social justice. Drag queens, primarily queens of color, were at the front lines advocating for the gay rights movement. Nowadays, it's my goal to honor drag's original roots of social justice, but also fight for environmental justice as well. When Patagonia says, I want to share my environmental advocacy through my art form of drag, and also make the outdoors as gay as possible, that is making a statement about making outdoor space home and about caring for that space. Birds, the drag queens of the sky. In my childhood home, there was a bird feeder and bird houses in the backyard, and in the living room bookcase, there were books cataloging birds with pictures on every page to identify them. In 1968, there was a photo of the Earth from the moon, but in 1962, there was a book. It was not a book full of pictures, but the title itself painted a picture with words. Silent Spring. October is LGBTQ+ History Month, and this congregation is working on its renewal of its welcoming congregation status as becoming a welcoming community for LGBTQ+ individuals and families. So for this History Month, let me share this piece from the section on LGBTQ environmental activists on the website queerbio.com. It begins, did you know that the global environmental movement was founded by an LGBTQ person, scientist and marine biologist, Rachel Carson of the United States? Her groundbreaking book, Silent Spring, came from her scientific studies into the effects of the chemical DDT and other pesticides on natural habitats around the world. At the time of publication, countries around the world were shocked by the increasing number of deaths of birds, for example, that could not be explained. The book caused an international sensation by drawing a direct link to the increasing use of pesticides in agriculture and other areas. Despite pushback from the chemical industry, global governments established organizations to regulate and investigate environmental issues, notably the United States Environmental Protection Agency. If spring were silent, would this still be our home? If birds went silent, Would humans also? It might not have been a literal picture, but it certainly painted a picture in many minds. Rachel Carson wrote in Silent Spring, "Why would we tolerate a diet of weak poisons, a home in insipid surroundings, a circle of acquaintances who are not quite our enemies, the noise of motors with just enough relief to prevent insanity? Who would want to live in a world which is just not quite fatal?" She also said, "The more clearly we can focus our attention on the wonders and realities of the universe about us, the less taste we shall have for the destruction of our race. Wonder and humility are wholesome emotions, and they do not exist side by side with a lust for destruction." She was providing lessons in caring for this earth as our home. The canary in the coal mine is not always literally a bird. Climate change impacts marginalized people the most and first, is the first sentence out of Jamie Margolin's mouth before they introduced themselves as a queer youth climate justice activist in Seattle, Washington, in a YouTube video. They make the point that a very large percentage of homeless youth are LGBTQ+, and that the homeless will be the first to be endangered by intense heat or the cold of polar vortexes or extreme weather events brought to us by climate change. Both Patagonia and Jamie Margolin are well aware of the intersectionality of social justice concerns. Climate justice, environmentalism, advocacy for the homeless, work for LGBTQ+ rights, all can and do intersect. One of my favorite religious images of the universe is Indra's net. According to Wikipedia, that source of all knowledge, Indra's net is an infinitely large net of cords owned by the Vedic diva Indra, which hangs over his palace on Mount Meru, the axis mundi, the center of Buddhist and Hindu cosmology. In this metaphor, Indra's net has a multifaceted jewel at each vertex, and each jewel is reflected in all the other jewels. In the Huan school of Chinese Buddhism, the image of Indra's net is used to describe the interconnectedness of the universe. Francis Cook writes, "Far away in the heavenly abode of the great god Indra, there is a wonderful net which has been hung by some cunning artificer in such a manner that it stretches out infinitely in all directions. In accordance with the extravagant tastes of deities, the artificer has hung a single glittering jewel in each eye of the net. And since the net itself is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. There hang the jewels, glittering like stars in the first magnitude, a wonderful sight to behold. If we now arbitrarily select one of these jewels for inspection and look closely at it, we will discover that in its polished surface there are reflected all the other jewels in the net, infinite in number. Not only that, but each of the jewels reflected in this one jewel is also reflecting all the other jewels, so that there is an infinite reflecting process occurring." We are all connected in so many ways. Looking at the earth from space, I have to ponder how many ways everything on such a small blue-green ball has to interact. The water I drink today may have once been part of the blood of a dinosaur. The air I breathe this afternoon might have been flowing over the ocean this morning. The soil under my feet might be the remains of plants and animals who lived in this place millennia ago. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote in his letter from the Birmingham jail, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Can we save our home, this beautiful blue-green planet? Can we save it in a way so that humans can continue to live here? I know I can't do it alone, but then I am not alone. I am connected to so many others. Patagonia noted that drag queens, primarily queens of color, were at the front line advocating for gay rights. And nowadays, it's my goal to honor drag's original roots of social justice. Gonia knows a connection to the past that empowers them. I just began Tia Miles' book, All That She Carried, tracing a bag given by a slave mother to a slave daughter as they were separated. On one of the very first pages of the book, Miles writes, in the third decade of the 21st century, we face our own societal demons, equal in some respects to the system of slavery that would finally be slayed. The world feels dark to us. We think it is a fantasy that we might rescue our children's futures, or revive our democratic principles, or redeem our damaged earth. In our moment of bleak extremity, Black women of the past can be our teachers. Who better to show us how to act when hope for the future is under threat than Black women who were nothing and had nothing by the dominant standards of their time, yet managed to save whom and what they loved. Many of us love this earth, our home, but we will not save it alone. But then we are not alone. We are connected. We are connected to astronaut Bill Anders taking a picture of the Earth from the moon. We are connected to Rachel Carson as she shared what human-made chemicals were doing to our environment. We are connected to drag queens of color who stood up for LGBTQ rights at Stonewall. We are connected to Patagonia doing drag for environmental advocacy. We are connected to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who reminded us of the network of mutuality. We are connected to the ancient Hindus and Buddhists who spoke of Indra's net. We are connected to the birds and all creatures with whom we share this planet, whose plights foreshadow our own. We are connected to queer youth climate activist Jamie Margolin as they remind us of the effects of climate change on homeless youth. We are connected to Black women and others of the past who acted when action seemed hopeless. As the Christian writer of the letter to the Hebrews said, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Yes, hope for the future is under threat, but we love this place, but we care about this earth, but this planet is home. In closing, hear this poem entitled A Vision from American writer, farmer, and environmental activist Wendell Berry. If we will have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, renewing, enriching it, if we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, then a long time after we are dead, the lives our lives prepare will live there. Their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, fields and gardens rich in windows. The river will run clear as we will never know it, and over it bird song like a canopy. On the levels of the hills will be green meadows, stock bells and noon shade. On the steeps where greed and ignorance cut down an old forest will stand, its rich leaf fall drifting on its roots. The veins of forgotten springs will have opened. Families will be singing in the fields. In their voices, they will hear a music risen out of the ground. They will take nothing from the ground, they will not return, whatever the grief at parting. Memory, native to this valley, will spread over it like a grove, and memory will grow into legend, legend into song, song into sacrament. The abundance of this place, the songs of its people and its birds will be health and wisdom and indwelling light. This is no paradisal dream. Its hardship is its possibility. Its hardship is its possibility, and we are not alone in the task. Our closing hymn is one I understand that you claim as your song, your congregational song, 1064, Blue Boat Home. I invite you to stand as you're comfortable. Our closing words are from Rachel Carson, who said, "We stand now where two roads diverge. But unlike the roads in Robert Frost's familiar poem, they are not equally fair. The road we have long been traveling is deceptively easy, a smooth superhighway on which we progress with great speed, but at its end lies disaster. The other fork of the road, the one less traveled by, offers our last, our only chance to reach a destination that assures the preservation of the earth." Blessed be.
Jane will now come forward to extinguish our chalice. And now as we exit the building and go outside, we are going to listen to some little Halloween ditties by our wonderful pianist, Terry Sullivan, which I didn't welcome before, and I usually do, the talented people. Yay! So let's rise and exit as we listen to the music.